Well, I'm so glad that the two first speakers had all the easy stuff to talk about. Um, Solvency and replacement rates. And now I'm here to talk to you a little bit about this word that they kept throwing out, as you heard. They talked about people who are retired, but every now and then they talked about and disabled workers. And that's the part of Social Security that I did most of my work in when I worked for Social Security. And there is life after working for Social Security. And this is it. It's pretty good, isn't it? Okay, so who are these disabled workers? Let's start with that. What people are we talking about? Now, you saw that I came up in an electric wheelchair, so you say, oh yeah, she's got a disability, right? I mean, because that's kind of obvious. By the way, I know I use an electric wheelchair. Don't try to pretend I'm not using one, okay? Because I am definitely cognizant of it. All right, so who are the disabled people in the world, and what way do we mean disabled when we're talking about Social Security? Well, I want to just start with the broadest definition of disability, the one you might know as a result of a landmark piece of legislation called the Americans with Disabilities Act. Has anybody here heard of that act? Raise your hand if you have. Come on, raise your hands. Let's have a little energy here. Put some muscle in it. All right. All right. Okay, so when we talk about people with disabilities, the Americans with Disabilities Act is the broadest possible definition of people. That is people we want to assure that their rights to live in our society, to take advantage of what our society has to offer, is dealt to them as fairly as it is to anyone else. Okay, so how many people have disabilities according to that definition? Oh, a whole bunch of... No, not you, Jenny. You do not have a disability according to that definition. She was going to give the answer, but I'm not going to let her give the answer. I want everybody who was born in the month of January to stand up. Stand up if you have a... Aww. Stay standing. Oh, wow. One January baby? What were your parents doing in the spring? For crying out loud. Oh, we're glad to have you. Stay standing. This gentleman, in an average group of 100 people, represents the number of people born with disabilities. Out of 100, the number of people who just come into life and have some kind of disability like hearing loss or blindness or severe or profound intellectual disabilities, that he represents about the number of people in that age group born with. Okay, so let's talk about 20-year-olds, a little bit younger than you guys. May I have everybody who was born in January and February stand up? Okay, so now we've got a few more. By the time you're 20, schools have identified, at least at some level, about this many people with disabilities. As a result of being in school, about this number of people are identified as having some kind of disability. These may be milder disabilities than others, but they'll have them their whole lives. That's our 20-year-olds. Let's skip up to 40. I know that's intolerably old from your perspective. 40, my God, almost over the hill. Or over the hill, okay? But I'd like everybody born in January, February, and March to stand up. Stand up now. Okay. Okay, now, oh, good, Steve. I'm glad to see you on your feet. Okay, so this is the number of people at about 40. Now, you're a pretty typical group, kind of a nice broad cross-section, except you're a little, not quite as diverse as I would like in terms of racial makeup, but that's okay. But you make up a kind of a good cross-section of America. That number of people among you, and those of you standing, will have some sort of disability ADA style. Okay. Now let's jump to 50. January, February, March, and April, stand up. Oh, wow, now we're adding some people. that many people are having some kind of impairment, something in their life that's difficult to do. Is it learning? Could be. Mobility? Could be. Vision or hearing? Could be. They might have some kind of chronic illness that makes going up and down stairs difficult, like diabetes. They might have a respiratory difficulty or a heart condition. Or they could be in a wheelchair. Okay, now let's move this group up to 60. January, February, March, April, and the first half of May, 1 through 15. Okay. We've got a substantial number of people here. Now you're still working here in your lifetime, and now you have some kind of impairment. Look around you, all of you who are seated and smug. Okay, all of you are seated and smug. These are your friends. These are your children, your parents, your cousins. These are the people in your life. They sit next to you at church. They shop at the same grocery. You met them on the internet, right? I mean, these are just regular folks. So when we're talking about the broadest range of people with disabilities, we're talking about a great many Americans. Now, just for fun, I want to take you up to 75. Because, you may think, if you're sitting there, disability is not about me. It's about the lady up there, Susan Daniels, but it's not about me. Let's go ahead and take you up to 85. Everybody born in January, February, March, April, May, and June, stand up. Ooh, we've got interesting patterns in this room. You think I should put it in July as well? Yeah, okay. Steve says I should throw in July. Okay, July, stand up. Okay, now here's an interesting thing about all of you who are standing up. You're alive. Some of you, and you will live a long time with a disability. Some of you who are sitting smugly down are just going to drop dead. So you're never going to experience disability. Okay. But at some point, you'll check out, never having stood up to this group. You can see how many people here, now by that age, have disabilities. But what about the working years? Now we're talking about people in their working years who lose the capacity to actually earn a living. And by the way, I mean this in the broadest sense of the terms. That's the one that Social Security is talking about. The inability to earn an income because of some impairment. Not all these people who are standing would be qualified for Social Security. So I'm going to ask everybody to sit down, because this poor guy's been standing up for the last 10 minutes. And we'll choose another sample.